On 18th of September 2016, 4 heavily armed and highly trained Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists crossed over from Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and launched a cowardly attack on an army camp in Uri, killing 19 soldiers, most of them who were asleep. The army and the entire country was seething with anger and they wanted revenge. Over the next few days, the army spent sleepless nights working out the intricacies of an operation that we as a country are proud of. And I'm very happy to have with me none other than Lieutenant General Satish Dua, the man who planned and executed the entire operation on ground. Welcome to Republic, sir. Such a pleasure to have you on board with us.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
You were the man, you were the co-commander then. You led the surgical strike, you planned it out on the ground. But today, you're also the chief of the Integrated Defense Staff. Before we move on to the surgical strike, if you could tell our viewers about the IDS and why integration of the three services is so important for our country.
Integrated Defense Staff is the fourth headquarters after Army, Navy and Air Force. It has under its command all the tri-services structures, all units, establishments, training institutions in which the three services have their components together. We operate and train together. Integrated Defense Staff headquarters also coordinates any activity, any operation, any exercise that has to take place where all three services or even just two services are involved. What is integration? The world over, most armed forces, certainly all the big ones, have integrated structures. Integration is required between the three forces because this is the best way to enhance one's combat power. The combat potential of a particular service, that is Army, Navy or Air Force, is enhanced if we are integrated. You get more value for your money, so
Absolutely.
to speak. Also resource optimization. There is huge cost saving if our logistics, our operations, our facilities are integrated. And a developing country like India can ill afford duplication or even triplication of resources and facilities. So these are the two main advantages of integration, and that is why the world has moved on to integrated structures. And the last point I'd like to make here is that in the new age technologies, in the emerging new technologies like cyber, like space, in these emerging fields, there are no boundaries between the civil and the military.
Absolutely.
Let alone between the three services. So today, in this non-contact warfare, we have to be prepared for challenges other than military. What if there is a cyber attack and our aviation structure is shut down, our banking is shut down? So these are the challenges in which there is blurring of boundaries. So we have to operate, prepare ourselves together. And that is why in these emerging technologies, it obviously makes sense to integrate all three services together.
You're very right, sir. Recently there were the Kerala floods and I was there covering it. At Republic, we had sent multiple teams to Kerala to cover the entire situation. There I saw the Army, the Air Force and the Navy working together in a more integrated manner and helping the people out. Is disaster relief operations also part of the IDS?
Yes, you're right. In fact, disaster relief, HADR, Humanitarian Assistance and Disaster Relief, is clearly a mandate of Headquarter IDS. Last year in January, in our Combined Commanders Conference, the Prime Minister in Dehradun, the Prime Minister gave us very clear instructions, very clear directions that we must, the Army, Navy, Air Force together, we must conduct more exercises with other stakeholders, like other stakeholders that are involved in disaster relief, like the NDMA. The states have their own SDMAs. Other departments that need to interact, like even Coast Guard, State Police, etc., and the district administration of each districts and the state administrations. So they asked us to take the lead so that we can evolve better drills to help out people in distress. Since then, we've conducted 6 exercises, that is, since the last one, over the last 1.5 years, each in different state, each in a different setting. Like somewhere we planned for an earthquake in an earthquake-prone area, we planned for floods in a flood-prone area, and so on and so forth. And these exercises have really produced good results. We've evolved better drills. We've identified critical weaknesses, and the respective organizations, including us, we've catered for it. And I must tell you an interesting fact that when we had this exercise in Hyderabad, less than a week from that exercise getting over, there were floods in Hyderabad.
Absolutely.
And the very same people who had interacted with each other, the WhatsApp groups that were made, the drills that were perfected, the weaknesses that were seen, we could actually draw very good lessons out of that, and they were put to good use to then rescue civilians and put in motion the relief efforts. Kerala floods you mentioned. We had this exercise for a flood situation in Kochi in April, and just 3 months later we had these floods. So I remember, like, every day we used to sit, I'm a member of the National Crisis Management Committee, so every day we sit we used to sit during the floods in the Cabinet Secretariat's office. All the organs gather there, and we decide. We used to have the Chief Secretary of the State on a video conference, and we used to decide what is to be done, what more is required, how it is to be deployed, and things like that. So it paid us such good dividends, not only perfecting our drills, the very same place, the very same situation that was practiced, and the appointments, the people, personalities involved. We had come to know each other by then on this.
So there's a smoother way of functioning.
Absolutely.
So, this also brings me to this question. Today is the anniversary of the surgical strike. Now you talk about integration of the 3 forces. Wouldn't integration of the special forces of the 3 services, I'm talking about the Para-SF of the Indian Army, the Garud Commandos of the Indian Air Force, and the Macros of the Indian Navy, if tomorrow there is an operation or a different kind of operation that needs to be launched, wouldn't the integration of all the 3 be helpful in such a scenario, sir?
Yes, it would. And it's a good idea to integrate special forces for operations, for training, and living together to understand each other, to learn from each other's best practices. Because special forces have to be prepared for different situations, different contingencies. We plan for so many things, and then one will happen in different locations, different contexts. So those efforts are in the pipeline. We are planning to integrate our Garuds of the Air Force, the Marcos of the Navy, and the Special Forces, the Paracommandos of the Indian Army, and are going to put them all together. So it is a good thought, and it is a work in progress.
It's a work in progress, the integration of the Special Forces. So this also brings me to the surgical strike itself. But prior to the surgical strike, and which led to the surgical strike, was the dastardly Uri attack. At that time, you were the Corps commander, 15 Corps, and when the Uri attack happened, what was the emotion inside you? Was there a pressure on you?
Well, I won't call it pressure, but yes, it was a sad loss. There is some professional pain. It's not so much about pressure. There was a challenge. There was a challenge as to how this has to be met. And we had to make sure in whatever we did, the challenge also was to make sure that we do not have casualties on our side.
So this particular option was chosen, of going in and striking right in the heart of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir at the terrorist launch pads. Was there training that was done? Was it something that was thought of within days, because it happened Uri happened on the 18th, we struck on the 29th early morning? Was there a planning that was put in place? Was there, in the sense, was this a long-term plan that was there?
Ours is a professional army. We have been in combat for decades. We are always ready. When I say we are always ready, I am not talking of readiness for war only. That too is there. We have a range of options for which we are ready mentally, we are always training towards it, and we are equipped to handle it. A range of options I will not discuss, but
Perfect.
From a very low level operation to very higher level options. So the army, and all the three services are always ready for such options. Like I said, it is only the context, the need for doing it, and what fits in best will decide which option is to be exercised.
Perfect. So this operation was conducted. Multiple teams went into Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and carried out the operation. As the commander, as the man in charge of the operation on the ground, what was the biggest challenge, sir, of this operation?
For us, the biggest challenge, I did mention about not losing own men. That is the underlying denominator always. But operationally, the challenge was success. We launch any operation, for us, success is the most important thing. So our operation has to be planned perfectly, executed immaculately, and with a great amount of bravery. And that's what I'm very proud to say our soldiers did.
So, the operation was there, it was held. Now it's been 2 years since then. Pakistan has continued with its barbarity. Pakistan has continued to launch attacks on Kashmiris, on the innocent Kashmiris and soldiers from the army as well as the BSF. Do you think India has the capability to launch and teach Pakistan a lesson for the barbarity that it does?
India is a very strong country. India has the capability. We just, in one small operation, we just showed our resolve and capacity to do it. As to the fact that, Pakistan is continuing to export terror, sadly, that is true. What will happen next is a leadership call. Whatever happens, it'll be a very different thing. It need not necessarily be the same kind of operation.
Absolutely.
If it ever happens.
Yeah.
So there is a range of options, like I said earlier, and that's a decision which is an operational decision.
Which is an operational decision that would be taken, but India does have the capability to hit back at Pakistan and give it the pain that it inflicts on us, right?
Like the army chief also mentioned in an interview recently, when Uri happened, before that, there was Pathankot and some such operations. We feel the pain. So it is important that we make them feel the pain. What was done, the terrorists have come across and hit us in Pathankot, Uri and other places. We decided to go and hit a terrorist launch pad. It happened to be other side of the line. So at least they felt the pain.
Absolutely. And, since then, the Pakistani establishment has also, at times talking about peace. You have the Pakistani Army Chief, General Bajwa, saying that he wants to have better relations with India. He talks about, army to army thing. But at the same time, the situation on the ground seems to be completely opposite. Terrorists continue to come in, they continue to finance, they continue to prop up these terrorists who are nothing but fodder cannon for them. Do you think that the Pakistani military as such can be trusted, sir?
Well, I would like to say that Pakistan continues to export terror, or terrorists keep coming from Pakistan. Although it's not my call to answer, but I suppose we can only talk about peace when they take some action to stop supporting them. They take some action to stop down terror camps. They take some action to arrest some terrorist leaders on their side.
Who are openly operating from Pakistani soil, who've launched attacks like Hafiz Saeed, who've launched attacks and they continue to operate and thrive. And you said we can talk only about peace only when there is action on the ground, when there's positive action as far as Pakistan is concerned. So another thing, sir, you're also the colonel of the Jack-Lai regiment. Now, if you could tell our viewers what exactly is the Jack-Lai regiment and who form the foundation of this particular regiment, sir?
I am very proud of the fact that I am from Jammu and Kashmir Light Infantry. I am presently at the helm of Jammu and Kashmir Light Infantry. My regiment has two USPs. One, my regiment was not raised, the battalions of my regiment were not raised as a part of regular recruitment.
Yeah.
We were raised as volunteer groups. During the 1947-48 operations, volunteer groups had sprung up in various parts of J&K to stop the invaders.
The Pakistani invaders.
Absolutely. Then, after the war, they were named J&K Militia, and we continued like that for a quarter of a century. As a paramilitary force, it was after the good work done by our battalions in 1971. We won several laurels, battle honors and awards. Our regiment was made a regular regiment in 1972. The second thing that I want to talk about Jammu and Kashmir Light Infantry, we are the only regiment that recruits from all over J&K only. We don't have troops from any other state. These are the sons of the soil who can perform better when in J&K. Our regiment carries forward that spirit of Kashmiriyat. We have all the three religions, in fact 4, a small percentage of Ladakhis. So we have Dogras, Muslims and Sikhs from J&K, also Ladakhis from Ladakh together. We are mixed down to the last section. A section is 10 men, so we don't have subunits, which is a Muslim company and a Dogra company. So we have troops mixed down to the last section. We also have our MMG, the Mandir Masjid Gurdwara, under one roof. All our religious functions take place together. So like I said, this is the best way of carrying forward the spirit of Sufism and Kashmiriyat. An example of an epitome of communal harmony for our country.
Absolutely, and that is what the ethos of the Indian Army is also. That was Lieutenant General Satish Dua talking to us about the integration of the three services as well as of the surgical strike. And as he rightly said, India has the capability to hit back and give back the pain that Pakistan inflicts on us. But yes, the time, the place and the kind of operation that we'll conduct will be of our own choosing. Thank you so much, Lieutenant General Satish Dua, for speaking to Republic.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.